Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Today we're going to be talking about survival foods, water filtration, water storage, and seeds. And I'm bringing this to you because I've found someone that has food in stock. These days, just finding anyone that has food or water filtration or any of those survival things, if they have them in stock, you'll pay 2 or 3 times the price because you can't find them anyplace. But he has food, he has these things in stock, and he is making them available to Prophecy Club. Today, my guest is Clayton Llewellyn of heavensharvest.com. He's been in the food business for 9 years. He's actually been one of the sponsors for Prophecy Club for many years. Many of you have gone to the website and seen how you can get those, and today we have a very special thing. Now, here's essentially what I'm going to say, and I'm going to turn most of the rest of the broadcast over to Clayton. As you know, I do not believe that this is going to be the big, bad pandemic virus that's going to sweep the globe. I just do not. I do think it's coming, and I still think we need to be prepared for that and any other eventuality. However, what we can't control is how it's being broadcast upon the media and the attitudes of other people, and how there are quarantines and shutdowns. They're even talking about now not even having people at the basketball games in America. Yeah, okay, so it could still bite any one of us. And even if this was not coming, I'm going to say absolutely positively, just like Leslie was told by the Lord, you tell the people that they do, I'll repeat, they do need to prepare as much as they possibly can, although it's sometimes expensive to get really prepared. But at least a person, in my opinion, needs to have at least 2 weeks of food, and that's almost nothing. More like, well, the idea would be having 7 years of food, so you could stay in your house 7 years, food and water, and not even come out. That would be closer to the ideal. But I think a person needs to have, well, just ask yourself, if you could not go out of your house for 1 year, for whatever reason, because there's radiation outside, because there's a virus, because there's a war, a civil war, whatever it is, if you could not leave your house for 1 year, do you have food and water and all of the wherewithal? I mean, just like, for example, do you have something that will give you light in an emergency when all the electricity is off? See, I mean, you need to think those things through. So that's what we brought on Clayton Llewellyn today to explain this about what he has and how you can help. So, Clayton, welcome to the Prophecy Club.
Stan, thanks for having me. How you doing today?
Good, thank you. Tell us what you have and what you can do.
Stan, I want to start out first by saying I kind of agree with what you just said there. I don't think this coronavirus or whatever's going around right now is the end of the world. The part that does scare me about it is it's the perception of how bad it's going to be. I think I read this morning that we've got 1,000 cases of it now in the United States. How many hundreds of thousands of cases of influenza did we have this year? All this is the media completely blowing this out of proportion, but that's causing the shelves at the grocery store to empty. I mean, it's happened in Hawaii. I talked to a friend of mine in Montana yesterday who said Costco up there was completely stripped and empty. They couldn't even find toilet paper. This is an emergency situation, and we're worried about toilet paper of all things. But like I said, I kind of agree with you. I don't think this is the end of the world, but I do believe there's going to be some panic going on in the next few months. And I think trying to get food and that kind of stuff may become a problem. It already is. That's kind of where this survival food really comes in handy. It's got a 25-year shelf life on it. It's something that you can buy, you can stick it in a closet, and it's going to last for years. When we started doing this food business, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, we were looking to buy stuff for our family. We actually lived in Florida at the time, and hurricanes every year were coming through. And right about hurricane season, you'd get to the grocery store, and everybody's running around like a chicken with their head cut off. And we went out trying to go to the grocery store, and it became a headache. It became a hassle. And that's when I started looking into this survival food. But everything I looked at, like, none of it made any sense to me. It's confusing. You know, there's how many calories do you need? Like, there were certain businesses that were saying you could buy enough food for the whole year for $100. Like, that didn't make any sense. But when you really started looking into it, the serving sizes were a teaspoon. They're telling you need 3 servings a day of food. Well, if all you're eating is a teaspoon of food, it's not going to last. And I did it real simple. It's as simple as I could possibly make it. I didn't want to confuse it. I don't want to hide anything from anybody. We put together 4 buckets. We have four main buckets of food. We have an entree bucket, we have a breakfast bucket, we have a fruit and vegetable bucket, and we have a protein booster bucket. Our entree bucket is kind of like the main courses. That's our whole business was built around that entree bucket. It's got 12 different kinds of food in it. There's 72 servings, and there's about 15,000 calories in that one bucket.
If you have tried to get any kind of survival food out there, you have probably already discovered it's not just the grocery shelves that are empty. That Big Berkey is out of water filters, and they don't even know when they're going to get any in. And that's the way it is with just about everything out there. It's all gone. Not just the shelves, but also all of the survival food. And in Clayton's case, he sold out in 2 days. However, he's got another truck coming in, and he has promised to give Prophecy Club people like first dibs to get this truck. When this truck is gone, while he's ordered another one behind it already, you don't take that chance. In other words, if you don't have survival food, if you don't have a water filter or something like that, then you better get this one. So I'm just letting you know he's got it, but it won't last long. So if you want some of this, you want to go to heavensharvest.com, and you want to put in the promo code STAN, S-T-A-N, and yes, Prophecy Club gets a little part of that, and that will help what we're doing too. So you'll help, and you'll get food, and you'll also be helping Prophecy Club. That's at heavensharvest.com, and our promo code is STAN. Back to you, Clayton.
Stan, you're absolutely right. We did sell out in 2 days. We went through probably a semi-load of food in 2 days. It was quick, but like you said, everywhere is out. It's hard to get. We've got a good connection with the manufacturer, so they promised us food. Actually, they promised us we'd have it the third week of March, and we've got it sooner. We've gone ahead and put in another order for it, but I have a feeling this truckload will be sold before it even makes it to our shop. It's kind of time sensitive. Like what I was saying, Stan, we've got four main buckets. We've got that entree bucket, and that's what we've built our business around, was that entree bucket. It's 12 different meals in it. It's $159.99. It's a great bucket. There's nothing in there. There's no drink mixes, or there's no sauces or anything like that. It's real food. It's not full of rice, or that's another thing you got to watch. Some of these other manufacturers they'll give you a big bucket of food, but half of it's drink mixes or rice, which is cheap to make. There's not a whole lot of nutrition in it. There's 12 different meals. There's 72 total servings, so there's 6 servings of each meal. And it goes anything from stroganoff to pasta Alfredo to mac and cheese. There's a corn chowder. There's 12 different meals in this bucket. It's a 72 serving bucket, so each meal comes with 6 servings, and they're individually packaged in their own mylar foil pouch. Even if you don't eat the whole meal, you can reseal it. But it's anything from stroganoff to pasta Alfredo, a mac and cheese, a corn chowder. There's an enchilada beans and rice, loaded baked potato casserole. Like I said, these are good, delicious meals. And off our entree bucket, that's when we kind of added our other 3 buckets to it. Our other buckets are a breakfast bucket, protein bucket, and a fruit and vegetable bucket. The protein bucket is kind of essential. There's no meat or anything in the entree bucket. Meat doesn't have the shelf life. Pastas have a 25-year shelf life. The meats only have a 15-year shelf life. So we separated them. We put them in their own bucket. That way it won't affect the shelf life on the other ones. But the good thing about the meats is you can add them right back into the entree bucket. Your stroganoff, you can make it a beef stroganoff. Your chili mac, you can put beef in there. The enchilada beans and rice taste delicious with chicken in them. We also put eggs in that protein bucket, and the eggs go great for breakfast. That kind of brings us to our breakfast bucket. We've got a 104 serving breakfast bucket. It too is $159.99. It's got a multi-grain cereal, a granola, a brown sugar and oatmeal, pancake mix. And in this bucket, we did put milk. There's a non-fat dry milk in there. The breakfast bucket, again, has got 104 servings. The protein bucket has, there's really not servings in there, but it's got 3 pouches of eggs, 5 pouches of dried chicken breast, and 5 pouches of ground beef.
See, I have some of this, okay? So I know what he's talking about, and this is good stuff. And we want you to, if you're in some hole someplace and you're hiding from the world out there, we want you praising what you got from us, not cursing us. So this is actually good food, and it's packaged in the right way so that you can actually live on this. These are actually 5-gallon plastic buckets that you can stack up pretty high in your wherever garage or whatever, or your storage bin. so that they're going to last, but they're also easily transportable. Is there anything else you want to say about the buckets?
Stan, you are right about the bucket. I should have mentioned that. We went with a square bucket. The reason we went with the square bucket is because you can stack more of them as opposed to a round bucket where you lose the space from the circumference of the bucket. So these are square buckets. They can stack up nice. They don't take up a whole lot of space. The bucket's resealable, so you can open it up, take out what you want, and put it back in there. They're weatherproof. They're not waterproof. I mean, if you sink them in the lake, they're going to fill up with water, but if they get rained on, they're good to go. And the fourth bucket we have is our 170 serving fruit and vegetable bucket. It's a $200 bucket, but again, there's 170 servings of fruits and vegetables in it. It's got apples, bananas, pineapples, diced potatoes, and corn. That pineapple, it's absolutely amazing. It may be the best thing we've got in any of our buckets. Once you try that, you'll eat it till it's gone. But it's the same way with this bucket. The diced potatoes and the corn mix in great with the entrees. You know, nobody really wants to eat corn by itself or diced potatoes, but when you mix it back in with our main bucket, the entree bucket, it all goes together perfect. Stan, we also have, besides the food, we have heirloom vegetable seed kits. The seed kit, it's probably one of my favorite. Food does have a shelf life on it. Food will run out. The only way to replenish that food is to grow more. And a lot of people miss that point. I don't like to think that we're ever going to be that bad that we're going to need food will run out and we'll have to grow our own. But we've got a $99 heirloom vegetable seed bucket that if that ever happens, you're good to go. For $99, it's the best security you can get. And we're not saying you've got to grow all your food. But if you planted a couple tomato plants, a couple cucumbers, there's 39 different varieties of seeds in there. So if you just planted a couple of them and you could add fresh fruits and vegetables to your meals, it'd really extend the amount you have.
Okay, now are these seeds hybrid seeds that will not come back up and you can't use the seeds from them? Or are these genuine, original, God-made seeds?
These are God-made seeds, Stan. These are all heirloom seeds. They're non-hybrids, they're non-GMOs, they're open-pollinated heirloom vegetable seeds. They're hard to find anymore. When you go to your local hardware store, those seeds are hybrids or they're GMOs, and they do that on purpose so that you've got to come back the following year and buy more seeds. These are the seeds our grandparents used. When they used to harvest their own seeds, they grow a tomato, take the seeds out, they dry them, and use them again the next year. That's what these seeds are, and they're getting really hard to find.
Are these freeze-dried, or are they powdered, or are they actually packaged in something to where they're still liquid fruits?
Stan, these are all freeze-dried. Everything we have is freeze-dried. A lot of people don't know the difference in that, but freeze-dried and dehydrated are two different things. When you dehydrate something, you don't get nearly the moisture out of it that freeze-drying does. When it's freeze-dried, that's what gives you the 25-year shelf life on this stuff.
Well, my understanding is that freeze-dried is actually the best way to have your long-term storage food in terms of it keeps more of the food value in it, and then when you rehydrate it by just adding water, then it tastes better. It has more of the original food consistency. And so the very best long-term storage food is the freeze-dried food. Is that correct?
That's 100% correct, Stan. When you freeze dry it, it doesn't lose like the nutrients and vitamins that dehydrating does. So when you freeze dry it, you really lock all that stuff in.
So the long and short of it is that they are going to be very pleased with this food. Now, if they want to have food for one person for 1 year, then how many of what buckets would you suggest that they get?
There's a lot of fibbing going on in this industry. There were companies out there that were saying they could supply a year's worth of food for $99, and that didn't make any sense to me. I mean, I can't go to the grocery store and buy a year's worth of food for $99. So you've got to pay real close attention to that. Your calories are what you need to worry about. And they say for an average person to survive, we need to get somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 calories a day. Now, that's not being active. That's just kind of hunkered down, waiting for the storm to pass. You know, like if you're active, you're going to burn a lot more than that. But in a survival situation, you want to hunker down, conserve what you've got. This is how we put our buckets together, Stan. There's 3 of our buckets that will sustain one adult for 1 month. That's the entree bucket, the breakfast bucket, and the protein bucket. Between those 3 buckets, you'll get 45,000 calories for the month, which is about 1,500 calories a day.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You're saying that if they get 3 buckets and they should have 1 of each kind of those buckets, 3 buckets equals 1 month's food for one person. So if they want to get a year's worth and they have, say, 4 people in their family, they just put the math together and that's how many buckets they buy. And then they can stack them up and store them in their garage or in their attic. And that's another thing. Does it need to be stored in a cool, dry place, or can maybe even storing it in a hot attic or something like that? Talk about the storage too, and also what are the numbers that they need to get per person to last a year?
Yes, Dan, you want to keep these buckets in a cool, dry place. Not too hot, not too cold. You don't want to store them where the temperature changes a lot. You want to keep them inside where the average temperature might be 70 degrees, between 65 and 75. You don't want them in a garage where it's freezing in the winter and 90 degrees in the summer. You kind of want to keep that temperature consistent. It's the same way with a lot of products, whether it's food or vegetable seeds or really anything. It's the change in temperature that damages products. If you're looking to have enough food to really sustain you, it's those 3 buckets. It's the entree bucket, it's the breakfast bucket, and it's the protein bucket. Those 3 buckets together will give you the 45,000 calories you need to survive. And like I said, this is where I got frustrated with it, because I was looking at stuff and it was dirt cheap. People were telling me, oh, there's 10,000 meals in here. Well, when you looked at it, the meal was the size of a teaspoon. That's not going to do anything for me. It's bad advertising is what it is, because if the day comes when you ever really need to survive off of that stuff, there's going to be a lot of upset people that thought they bought a year's worth of food. It's barely going to last 2 months. These 3 buckets are kind of like the key for the month's worth of survival. If you got a family of 4, 3 buckets per person per month, it's somewhere around like 144 buckets of food. But if I can get 2 or 3 months worth of food, get some seeds planted or a garden planted, I'll extend that to 4, 5, 6 months. And it's pretty simple to do. I mean, you can plant a garden pretty much anywhere. You can plant a garden in an apartment out of some flower pots. Okay, just having those extra vegetables really helps.
Okay, now you also have some water storage and water filtration available. Explain that.
In an emergency situation, you just need simple is better. You don't want to get too technical with it, or you don't have to want to rely on a generator or anything. I mean, I wanted as simple as I could possibly get. And the simplest way to do that, a filtration system and a storage container. It doesn't get any simpler than that. We carry storage containers, we carry filtration devices. We have a Seychelles bottle. It's about a quart-sized bottle that you can dip it into the pond outside, screw the lid back on it, and as you drink it, it filters it through a filter, and it comes out drinkable water. We also have a pitcher that pretty much does the same thing. You could dip it in the stream, and it'll filter the water back out for you. We have a baby bottle for the children that does the exact same thing. Then we also have what we call a pump-to-pure system. And this is pretty neat. It's a handheld pump. You kind of stick one side of it into the stream or the pond, and then if you have a clean container on the other end, as you work this little hand pump, it'll filter out the water for you. It's good for filling up like a 5-gallon bucket or something like that if you need to take it back to the house to where everybody can drink it. To store this water, that's another thing you got to have. You just having clean drinking water is no good if you don't have anywhere to put it. We have a product called a water brick stand. That these things are kind of cool too, and it went back with the square box design so that you can stack more of them up in a smaller area. It's a 3.5-gallon plastic container. They're stackable. You can put them in a closet. And a lot of people say they want to keep these things full all year long. I don't do that. Water's like anything else. It'll go stale or stagnant if it's sitting there. Every 2 or 3 months, we'll go back through and refill these things up. Like it's just a good, easy, convenient way to store water. And I tell you, water's kind of one of those things we take advantage of it. We don't realize how readily available it is in this country. Coming from Florida, where we had hurricanes and the water would get shut off, you learn real quick how important it is to have a place to store water. We've got those, Stan. We've also got a bigger container. It's a 50-gallon tank. The water bricks, the 3.5-gallon containers, anybody can carry them. They're easy to transport. Just a great way to store water. Yeah, the water brick itself, Stan, is probably like 6 inches tall, 12 inches wide, and maybe 18 inches long. You can stack them on a pallet, 4, 5, 6 feet tall, but they interlock. So when they get stacked up, it keeps them as one single unit, not as individual units.
So this is probably something that they would keep in their garage as opposed to their house, maybe even in the backyard someplace.
We've stacked them up under our bed. You can slide them underneath your bed. You can fit probably about 20 or 30 of them underneath your bed. So just underneath your bed, you could have 60, 70, 80, 100 gallons of water underneath your bed that you never even know was there.
Okay, let me see if I can summarize what you're saying. That you have square plastic buckets, which, by the way, I do have some of them. This is the survival food that I have. As a matter of fact, I have mine at one of those storage places that keeps it at a normal temperature, and I have it within walking distance of my house. So if I couldn't get in the car or something, I could walk down there and I could get food out of it. But anyway, so yeah, I have some of this, and I have probably a year's worth of supply of it. And so, I mean, I've got one of those, like, I don't know, it's like a 6x6 storage place, and it's full. It's full of this survival food. So anyway, they come in these plastic buckets, and what's the exact measurements on those buckets?
They're 11 by 11 by 14, Stan, so that's real close.
Okay, so we got square buckets. We've got the entree, we've got the fruit, and we've got the breakfast. And he says those 3 buckets will feed one person for 1 month. Again, my suggestion is that you, if you can afford it, you should try to have at least, this is my opinion, at least a year's supply of it for each person in your family. And you need to have it in a place where it is not necessarily too hot or too cold, and someplace where you can walk to get to it. At least that's my understanding. So that's the food, which you can get at heavensharvest.com. You put in the promo code STAN, S-T-A-N. I don't know where we came up with that, but the next thing I recommend is the water filtration. You want to get probably several things there. Depends on your finances. Like a quart bottle that you can just dip in, screw on the lid, and out comes the top is filtered drinkable water. There's several different filtration devices he has that are very good. The pump is also a very good idea, because then you need to have that stored. So you want to get several storage devices so that you can put it in, like maybe a storage bucket or a storage brick. Go to heavensharvest.com. Has it all there. You can look through it, explain it all, and then you can place your order. And you put the promo code STAN, and that way your Prophecy Club gets some benefit from it. But the most important thing is you get some clean water and clean food, because if it's not the virus now, you and I both know that something real bad is coming. Even I have, I'm going to say, over a year's worth of food stored away. And I have filtration devices. Believe me, I have thought this all through. And if you do not have A, food, B, water, C, a place to store that water and make sure it's clear and it's clean. As a matter of fact, in the average emergency situation, a tornado hit or a flood or something, you know, the thing that kills most people is not the hurricane, it's not the flood, it's not the water. Most of what kills them is drinking impure water. That's number one. That's the number one cause of death. Maybe the tornado didn't kill them, but they can't get clean water. So first, make sure you have clean water. A way to clean water. 2, make sure you have food. In my opinion, food enough. 1 year's per person. My opinion. That's what I suggest. 1 year per person. That's a minimum. If you can do more than 1 year, good for you. So go to heavensharvest.com, heavensharvest.com, and you want to enter the promo code STAN. So in conclusion, Clayton, what else would you have to say to the listeners?
I don't think this virus is the end of it. I think the perception of it is worse than the virus itself. The virus doesn't matter at this point. Like I said, it's how bad is the media going to play this out. We're already seeing grocery store shelves emptied. We've got a 2-week supply chain, and we'll run through that real quick. Having this stuff setting at my house, all this panic going on right now, people run around trying to find stuff. I don't have those problems. I don't have those issues. 10 years ago, I started storing this stuff. And now I watch this on the news where people are emptying grocery store shelves, having the satisfaction knowing that you're already got food. You're already prepared. You don't have to run around looking for this stuff. You're not worried about the supermarkets or the big chain stores running out. It's already sitting in a closet. Let's worry about other things. If you've ever thought about it, if you're ever wondering when the right time to buy is, it's probably a pretty good time right now. I mean, you're starting to see what could happen if we ran out of food.
Clayton Llewellyn, thank you very much for coming on as representative of heavensharvest.com and explaining all of this to us. You'll have to come back again, brother.
Stan, I appreciate it. Thank you, and God bless.
We prophecy students have an advantage because we know what is coming, and thus we can prepare for it mentally, spiritually, and, yes, physically. Again, the Lord told Leslie that people should prepare to the very best of their financial ability to do so. So if you'd like to get some of this emergency food and supplies and water filtration and storage, go to heavensharvest.com and enter the promo code STAN, S-T-A-N, heavensharvest.com, S-T-A-N, heavensharvest.com, the promo code STAN, so that you will be helping your prophecy club. heavensharvest.com, promo code STAN. He does have it in stock, but he also says it's not going to last long, and finding anybody with any of these emergency supplies in stock is a rarity. heavensharvest.com, STAN is the promo code. I want you to come to the Sevenfold Miracle Crusade because I want to see you rise several levels higher with God. I want you to become a soul winner, prophecy teacher, and miracle worker in the tribulation, which is soon to arrive. Leslie and I will lay hands on you, anoint you with oil for you to receive a higher anointing in God as others have. Leslie will teach you her school of the prophets to help you develop more spiritually. I will teach you how to become a prophecy teacher, giving accurate interpretations of Bible prophecy. You will go up at least 5, if not 7 levels higher in the Spirit. Go to sevenfoldmiraclecrusades.com and register before the room rate increases. I also have 2 requests which will help the crusade. Please don't stay at another hotel or eat outside of the Hyatt. Please stay at the Hyatt and get the meal package at sevenfoldmiraclecrusades.com. 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 Register today. What would you do if you had to tell a person the most important information in the world, but you knew they wouldn't believe you? Would you tell them? Well, most would. So what is the most important information in the world to all people, nations, and languages? The most important thing to do is to receive Jesus, but the most important thing not to do is don't take the mark of the beast, because those taking the mark of the beast do not get soul death, but are eternally tormented in hell. Revelation 14:11 says, "The smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night who worship the beast in his image, or whosoever receiveth the mark of his name." But how do you tell them? Give them the book, Miss the Mark. If they'll read this simple, thin, easy-to-read book, they will never take the mark of the beast. 1 for $20, but don't do that. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets of 10 to give away. 1 set of 10 for $30, 2 sets $45, 4 sets $70 at prophecyclub.com. Miss the mark at prophecyclub.com. Miss the mark at prophecyclub.com. In 2017, I memorized the book of Revelation. God showed me a single word, first fruits, is a secret door found in Revelation and Leviticus. When linked together, the end-time events can be placed in chronological order. For the first time, we can know what feast Jesus returns on, the feast for the judgment seat of Christ on the great white throne, the feast upon which the wheat is resurrected, and on the day the New Jerusalem comes down to earth. One prophetic word said, "There is a lock that I have put over a word in the book of Revelation that I'm going to open unto you. It will turn many books written on the end-time message into obsolete books." That's this book. Don't get 1 for $20. Instead, get 5 for $30 or 10 for $55. The secret door to understand Bible prophecy at prophecyclub.com. Download our free app from the App Store.